Hi there, welcome to my channel Wealth Wisdom Works. My name is Alan and I'm here to help you take control of your finances and grow your wealth. In today's video we're going to cover the basics of budgeting and creating a budget that works for you. Before we start, I must remind you that I'm not a financial advisor and this video and any others do not constitute specific financial advice. Always consult a financial advisor for specific advice relating to your individual circumstances. As a chartered banker with over 20 years experience in the banking industry and a personal investor for over 30 years, I've seen my fair share of financial ups and downs. I've lost everything at one point, everything that I'd worked for, but I rebuilt and I'm now in a secure financial position. That's why I'm passionate about helping others achieve financial stability and security, especially those in the UK in their 40s and 50s who are approaching retirement and want to get their finances in order. And that's where I come in. I've covered budgeting and all other aspects of personal finance in my book, The Wealth Wisdom Blueprint, which is available on Amazon. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Okay, so we'll start by looking at the different types of expenses that you have and how to categorise them. Then we'll move on to creating a budget by setting a realistic spending plan for each category of expenses. Once you've got your budget in place, it's important to track your expenses to make sure that you're staying within your budget. We'll look at some easy ways to do this, whether you prefer to use a budgeting app, a spreadsheet, or a good old-fashioned pen and paper. Finally, we'll talk about how to adjust your budget as your circumstances change. It's important to regularly review and adjust your budget to make sure that it continues to work for you. So, get your notebook ready and let's get started on creating a budget that works for you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more great tips and advice on personal finance. Budgeting is an essential aspect of personal finance and it's a great way to take control of your finances and achieve your financial goals. So to start with, we'll have a definition of budgeting so that we know what we're talking about. Budgeting is simply a process of planning and managing your finances by estimating your income and expenses and making sure that you're spending less than you earn. It's a crucial step in ensuring your financial stability and achieving financial success. But why is it important? Many people don't realise how important budgeting is until it's too late. Budgeting is a powerful tool that can help you avoid overspending, get you out of debt, save for the future, and achieve your financial goals. With a budget, you can gain a clear understanding of your income and expenses, and that can help you make the most of your money and avoid financial stress. There are many misconceptions about budgeting, and that can deter people from taking control of their finances. Some people think that budgeting is too complicated or too time-consuming, while others believe that they don't have enough money to budget. However, budgeting is not complicated and it's a crucial step in achieving financial success. So let's have a look at the benefits of budgeting. Budgeting's got many benefits that can help you achieve financial stability and reach your financial goals. By creating and sticking to a budget, you can avoid overspending, you can get out of debt, you can save for the future and invest in your financial future. Budgeting can also help you increase your income, open up new career opportunities and achieve financial success. So there you have it, that's a brief overview of budgeting basics. So let's get started with step one. Before we can create a budget, we need to gather all our financial information. This includes our income, expenses, debts, and anything else that's relevant to your financial situation. It's important to be as thorough as possible so that we have an accurate picture of our finances. Step 2 is to track your spending for a month. This will give us a clearer idea of where the money's going and which areas we might be overspending in. Keep a spending diary for a month. It can be a bit of a chore, but it's definitely worth it, trust me. Once we've tracked your spending for a month, it's time for step 3, and that's to categorise our spending and identify areas where we can cut back. This step is all about being honest with ourselves about what we really need and what we can do without. It's a great opportunity to take control of our finances and make changes that will have a positive impact. With all the information that we've gathered, it's time for step 4, creating a budget based on the income and expenses that we've identified. This is where we put all the information that we've gathered to good use and create a budget that will help us achieve our financial goals. It's important to be realistic, but also to be optimistic about what we can achieve. And finally, step 5, review and adjust your budget regularly. Our financial situation can change, and it's important to regularly review and adjust our budget to ensure that it's still working for us. This could mean making changes to our spending habits or adjusting our income and expenses. So that's it for the steps to creating a budget. So far we've talked about what budgeting is and why it's important and the steps to creating a budget. Now it's time to talk about some tips to make sure your budget is effective and it works for you. Tip number 1, be realistic about your spending. When creating your budget, it's essential to be honest about your spending habits. Don't underestimate your expenses or you'll find yourself struggling to stick to the budget. On the other hand, don't overestimate your expenses or you'll end up with a surplus that you won't know what to do with. Yeah, that would be a nice problem. Tip number 2, prioritise your spending based on your goals and values. When creating your budget, it's essential to decide what's the most important to you. Do you want to save for a holiday, pay off debt, or build an emergency fund? Make sure that your budget reflects your priorities. Tip number 3, be flexible and adjust your budget as needed. Your budget's a living document and it should be adjusted as your circumstances change. If you get a pay rise, increase your savings. If you have an unexpected expense, adjust your budget to accommodate for that. Tip number 4, find ways to increase your income. See, budgeting's not only about what you're spending, it's about your income as well, because that forms part of your overall budget. Making more money is a great way to give your budget a boost. Consider taking on a side hustle. You could even ask for a pay rise at work. Or you could sell some stuff. Everybody's got loads of stuff all around their house that probably you've never used for years. Sell it and get rid of it and use that money for something else, whether it's paying off debt or giving yourself a treat. Tip number 5, make saving a priority. Saving is a critical part of your budget and it should be a priority. Decide on a realistic amount that you can save each month and make sure that's reflected in your budget. So there you have it, folks. There's some tips to make sure that your budget works for you. Remember, budgeting is a continuous process and it takes time to get it right. Be patient and stick with it and you'll see the benefits in no time. Now that you know the steps to creating a budget and some tips for making it work for you, let's talk about some common mistakes to avoid. These are all things I've seen people do in my years as a chartered banker, and I want to make sure that you don't fall into the same traps. First up, not tracking your spending. This is a big one, folks. If you don't know where your money's going, how can you create a budget that accurately reflects your spending habits? So make sure you're keeping a close eye on your spending and don't just rely on your memory. Write it down. Keep a notebook. Add your spending into that. Next, underestimating your expenses. It's all too easy to forget about the monthly subscription that you signed up for or to underestimate the cost of a big purchase. Make sure you're being honest with yourself about your spending and don't leave anything out. Another mistake to avoid is not adjusting your budget regularly. Life changes and so does our spending habits, so make sure that you're reviewing your budget at least once a month to see if there are any changes that you need to make. And speaking of changes, it's important to make saving a priority. I know, saving can be a bit of a bore, but trust me, you'll thank yourself for it in the long run. So make sure you're setting aside a portion of your income for savings each month. Last but not least, don't be too rigid with your budget. This is your roadmap to financial security. It's not a straitjacket. So don't be afraid to adjust your budget as needed, and don't beat yourself up if you slip up every now and again. So there you have it. The common mistakes to avoid when creating a budget. Remember, it's a process. It's okay to make mistakes. Just keep at it and you'll be on your way to financial stability in no time. So we've covered a lot about budgeting and creating a budget that works for you. So let's recap and wrap things up. First, we discussed what budgeting is and why it is so important. Budgeting helps you to take control of your finances and makes the most of your money. We talked about some common misconceptions about budgeting and the many benefits it offers. Next, we went through the steps of creating a budget, starting with gathering all the information, tracking your spending, categorizing your expenses, and creating a budget based on your income and expenses. It's important to review and adjust the budget regularly to ensure it's still working for you. We also talks about some tips for making a budget that works, including being realistic about your spending, prioritise your spending based on your goals and values, being flexible, and finding ways to increase your income and making saving a priority. Finally, we went over some common budgeting mistakes to avoid, such as not tracking your expenses, underestimating your expenses, being too rigid with your budget, and not making saving a priority. So, there you have it. Budgeting is a crucial component of personal finance, and that's why I've covered it early. In fact, it's the first video, other than my introduction video to you. It's so important. I just want to emphasise that to you. Get started on a budget today. So there you have it. Budgeting is a critical component of personal finance, and it can help you achieve your financial goals and lead to a more secure financial life. So don't wait. Start budgeting today. Take control of your finances. That's why I've made that the first video for the channel. It's so important. You've got to know where you're up to with your money. And even if it's not an ideal place, you still need to know that so that you can do things to change it. So anyway, I've covered all this and more in my book, The Wealth Wisdom Blueprint, which is available on Amazon. You can check the link to that below in the comments to this video. So if you want to take control of your finances, understand the basics and grow your wealth, then this is a channel for you. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel and to keep up to date with all the latest videos. Also, let me know in the comments which topics you want me to cover in the future. I want to hear your feedback on this so that I know that I'm making content that's relevant for you. And just once again, I want to remind you that I'm not a financial advisor, so this video and any others do not constitute specific financial advice. Always consult a financial advisor for specific advice relating to your individual circumstances. So if you're enjoying this video and you want to see more of it, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button. I'll be covering all sorts of personal finance topics, from budgeting and saving to investment and retirement planning. So be sure to stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.